Hello, and welcome to a Broken Binding unboxing. That is in a pretty big box. Look at this box. This is a double volume box right here. I gotta use scissors on this one because this one doesn't have just one piece of tape. It's got two. We're living dangerously. It's always fun getting the big boxes like this. This is the Darkwater Legacy. Look at this. It's like a spaceship. It just opens up. I'm going to open up this way, though, so I don't hit the camera stand. Darkwater Legacy duology? Are there just two titles? There are only two titles now. Maybe there'll be a third one. By Christopher Wooding? I could be getting his name wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was Wooding. Which is still available on their site, which is pretty cool, because it allowed me to buy it. This one, I think, went on pre-order and went on sale months back, earlier this year. This is, nice little duology with stenciled end papers, signed by Christopher Wooding. And it's a throwback to classic fantasy. Anyways, let's dive in. So, the first one is the Ember blade. Oh, there it is. It's ripping over on the side there. The Ember blade. Nope, it's the Shadow Casket. It's the second book. Never mind. It was on top, so I presumed it was book number 1. Anyways, the one on the bottom should be the Ember blade. How funny would it be if I got 2 copies of the Shadow Casket, though? I think it'd be funny. Chris Wooding. We have a different style and stencil. We have the Ember blade. So this takes place in a world where, you got different regimes. The fall of one regime leads to the rise of another. You have your, I don't want to say warring families, but, warring clans, warring whatever you want it to be. Do these connect? These do not connect. They look like they should connect. But, they're both very much of, the same kind of cityscape, both a waterfall on it. Anyways. It's a high fantasy world where there are constantly changing regimes. And Aaron, the main character, has lived his whole life by the rules when suddenly he finds himself in a work mine. Oops. Because of a change in the guard, a change in the ruling clans or ruling factions or ruling cities. But he just, he's like, it's got to be a misunderstanding. I've always followed the rules. When he is rescued from his work mine by a mysterious gentleman who doesn't really like him, but, dust jacket's a little torn there. Is the book itself torn? The book isn't bad. A little dinged, but, not terrible. So he's rescued by a guy who doesn't like him, who wants to kind of cause an uprising, go against the status quo. And in order to do that, he needs the titular Ember blade. And wow, Chris Wooding has written a lot. I am not familiar with Chris Wooding. He's British, right? He's got to be a British author. Is he? I don't know. Does it say? He might not be. He signed his first book contract age 19. Wow. That's awesome. He's penned 27 books, including the award-winning Haunting of Elizabeth Cray. Very cool. All right. Very, very cool. He's also worked on video games, including the Assassin's Creed franchise. I've played a lot of those games. Anyways, I'm not familiar with Chris Wooding. I'm sorry, Chris Wooding, if you ever watch this video, I mean you no disrespect. Nice illustrated end papers, stenciled end page blocks. Very, very nice. So this is a very character-driven fantasy in which, they're seeking out the Ember blade to shift the balance of power in their society, in their fantasy world, which sounds very cool. I like some nice fantasy-driven stories, character-driven fantasies. There's a dude up on the corner of that hill by that tree. Look at that dude. Very intrigued. Like I said, it's a throwback to classic fantasy, and I am all for it. Oh yeah, there's the dude. He's on the spine of the book. There's the dude. And there's the person with the loot. And the person with the loot's here. So I guess if you put the dust jacket side by side, you got 2 people with loots. And you have a whole bard party going on. Anyways. That brings us to the sequel, Shadow Casket, which, based on my incredibly vigorous description of the first one, leads me to the second one, which I didn't read anything about. The reason for that being that I don't want to get any potential spoilers from the Ember Blade. Yeah, once again, you got your nice little fantasy landscape, where the spine, once again, kind of continues into the cover, yet you have the same character. You have a little staff dude and a little staff dude. So yeah, it's got a staff party. Bow staffs be damned. So, this one is the sequel. It's also much heavier, but I like the page edges. Look at that. It's very cool. I like the stamping. And I like some illustrated end sheets or end papers. It is signed by Christopher Wooding. This is not numbered. They do not number these ones. It's like 1,500 copies or 1,000 copies, but they're not numbered. They're just signed, which is fine. I'm totally fine with that. Like the Shadows of the Apt series, Adrian Tchaikovsky, that is also signed but not numbered. Speaking of which, I think the first title for that is also still available. This one, I don't know if it's just a duology or if it just happens to be the only 2 volumes are out so far. Shadow of the Apt has 10 books. And the first title, Empire in Black and Gold, has been chilling out in the Dragon's Hoard of Broken Binding for like what seems to be like 2 or 3 years now. And I know that's definitely not correct because they only just started the subscription last year. So it's probably only been in there for about a year. Because I feel like it was there when the subscription started. But anyways, they just announced they're doing book number 2. They're going to do all 10, but you know, they're doing it like one a year or once every year and a half or whatever it may be. But anyways, you can go buy Adrian Tchaikovsky books over there, including like his sci-fi books. The sci-fi trilogy is sold out, but the individual book 3 is still there. Ton of books over on I almost said the signed page. The signed page also has a ton of books. They're not going to have stenciled edges, but the shipping will be cheaper than it is from the Broken Binding, which is in the UK. Anyways, lots of books over in the Broken Binding. Mark Lawrence, although that title is sold out. We got R.J. Barker going through the subscription series now. I just did the subscription box the other day. I'm going to keep doing these unboxing videos, so please consider liking and subscribing. Check out the Broken Binding. They have 2 sites, both links in the description below. One is their main site, which is just a bookstore. You know, nothing fancy about it. Lots of signed books, signed book plates, and so on. Then there's the Broken Binding sub.com, which is both the site for their subscription, which they're currently doing the Tide Child trilogy, as well as their exclusive editions, where you get the fun little sprayed edges. Oh my God, ends like we have there. Unless you're in the UK, in which case I think you buy their special editions through the regular site. But yeah, it's a thing. But yeah, check out my channel. Please consider liking and subscribing. Check out Chris Wooding and the Broken Binding. I will give book reviews for these once I eventually get to reading them. But holy crap, I need to slow down my book buying because I got to catch up on these books. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you around next time.